to my channel. This is Tita Lavinia of Tita's a Fashion Tree, and for this episode, I will be giving you my curated gown picks for Michele Marquez Dee as she competes for Miss Universe 2023 this coming November 18 in El Salvador. So please make sure you stick around. Please subscribe to the channel as well as hit that bell notification button for your weekly pageant. Guys, I hope that you're doing well. I'm so glad to be back in this setup. I'm so glad to start filming regular episodes for you. We only have a little over a month for Miss Universe, so I'm really very excited about this. Today is September 30th, and I know that today is also the date of the ABS-CBN ball. So I'm going to wait for this. By the time that I publish this, most likely Michele has already made an appearance at the ABS-CBN ball. So if we do get more beauty queens to attend this event, I might cover that as well for you. But I'm doing this episode because a lot of you have requested on this, and I'm really very excited because I've had the materials for quite some time. I have just been very busy with other things, so now my Q&A trainees have canceled on me, so I have the whole day for you guys. I can film this, I can edit this, and hopefully I can have this one published today. So I know a lot of you are very excited about Michele Dee. I think the excitement also went up a little bit right after seeing the girls from the Latin American countries when some of them made an appearance in Miami a few weeks ago, because we started figuring out, these are beautiful girls, yes, but they kind of all look the same, and even the styling is still very pageant patty. I mean, elevated, but still very pageant. So what's nice about Michele Dee is that she does have that androgynous feel. She's very edgy. She knows what she wants. She knows what looks good in her body, and she knows the personality that her wardrobe projects. Sometimes it can get a little hard, it can get a little too edgy for most of us, but I trust her styling team. She has expressed some information on what her gown might look like. She did mention just a few weeks ago that the gown color that she will choose will be within the spectrum, and she also mentioned in one of the articles that she will work with the Mark Baumgartner to make her final gown. But of course, this will not stop us from speculating. I mean, I think part of the things that we really wait for during Miss Universe season is just a wardrobe. In the Philippines, we have a very different setting. It's very, very different from our immediate neighbors like Indonesia and Thailand, wherein everything will be presented to the crowd, I don't know, maybe for approval, but in the Philippines, everything is kept secret. Now, what would you prefer? Because for me, I would really prefer this setup. I would rather gamble on not really seeing what our girl will be wearing for the finals, whether that's a good choice or a bad choice. I would rather be surprised than know what she will be wearing by way of a presentation, just like how they do it in Indonesia and Thailand. So maybe in a few days or in a few weeks, we will start checking out the girls. But for now, I'm really very confident in at least the styling decision for this year, because in the past years, ever since Miss Universe Philippines started getting their own standalone arrangement going on, we haven't really quite hit the mark with styling. It's mostly hit or miss, or just totally, I don't know, very different from what we all expected. So yes, we could just recall what happened to Celeste Cortesi. We had a vision for her, but then when she came to Miss Universe, that all pretty much changed as she was all closed off, and let's not get started on those gowns. So for this episode, I have a few pieces for you. I would love to just push you guys a little bit in terms of your comfort zone and your comfort level, but don't worry, because these choices that I have for you are actually quite rooted in what we've been speculating all along. So I will start with my first category, and I will call this one Slither. Now, why Slither? I guess it's also because of the reference on Michele Dee as the snake queen. This is alluding, of course, to her pasarela that's really very snake-like. So I'm supposing by now they've mastered at least the pasarela side and how fluid those movements are supposed to be by the time she arrives in El Salvador. So a lot of people have speculated that she might wear green or she might pick green because her mother wore green for her Miss International stint, and she also wore green for Miss World. So for me, I don't know if she's gonna go for it, uh, just the second time around. But it seems to be like a popular choice for a lot of pageant fans to make Michelle wear green. So I have a few green gowns for you. The first green gown that I'm going to show you is something that's really very simple, something that's more on the minimalistic side. Because when I see Michelle, I see her more as a minimalistic type of girl instead of like someone who just piles up on all the bling, but we'll see. So for my first pick, this is from a designer called Kukuleli Shashin. That's a very interesting name. And this is called a serpentine crystal dress. So if you go ahead and check it out, it's a serpentine halter dress with undulating motifs. So very, very similar to what I'm wearing now. But what I mean is, it seems like it's beaded in just one go, but looking at it closely, it seemed to overlap. So the serpent green dress is also made from two beads and crystals. It has a beaded neckline, and the fit is just really very straight, which I think will complement her statuesque height. I don't know. Looking at it, it does look very snake like. My next pick is a Halston dress, and this one is called a Kiara gown. Now, this is also very similar to the first dress, but this one has a little bit more of that disco feel. This is made from stretch sequin. It's a deep V-neck slit gown, so a check on the simplicity, a check on the minimalism. However, the color is a little more out there. This is a neon green dress, and this is held by spaghetti straps that are really very delicate. So a check on sensuality, a check on sexiness as well, that crosses at the backs. My third choice is actually one of my favorite green dresses. This was worn by Kendall Jenner in 2015. It was made by Calvin Klein for the Costume Institute Gala. It's China Through the Looking Glass exhibition for the Met Museum. So this is one of the more photographed dresses in the bunch because the color of the dress is something that resembles jade. So they were looking for something that has a little bit of that Chinese feel. And I think that it would work for Michelle because, as you know, she is half Chinese, half Filipino as well. So it might work. The dress was made with thousands of hand-dyed bugle beads, and it's woven into mesh fabric that creates some sort of like that 3D effect. The dress is also covered with smoke colored crystals. So if you look at the photos, it seems like it just has like one pattern, but looking at it closely, it does have that um, like lattice work pattern going on, and it's really very intricate. Now, what I like about this for Michelle is it has a high neckline. If she turns to the side, it's open, it's held by strings, and it's a really good contrast, I think, because it balances something that's just conservative, but just turn to the side and it's all party. So yeah, the lace detail just makes the dress more delicate, and it will definitely emphasize Michelle's shape. Now, my last pick for this category is a gown that was made by Emilio Pucci in 2011. This was actually from their RTW line, and it's an asymmetric moss green dress, very snake-like. One part of it is pretty flowy, it's long sleeve, and then the other part is made of sequined material with a little bit of a cutout. So for me, I really like the asymmetric cut of the dress because I think it's very interesting. Michelle can definitely move on her slithering action. She can move with her waist, and this has a really dangerous slit, so I think that she could also showcase her beautiful long legs. My next category is soft black. Now, black is a color that has been associated with Michelle. In fact, she has worn so many black OOTDs throughout her reign. However, I did notice that every time they would make her wear black, it's always so predictably edgy. It's always so predictably angular. So I wanted to push Michelle to, yes, go ahead and consider black, but go for something softer. Now I do have a little bit of a reference of Michelle wearing a softer black gown. I just felt that the proportions are just a little off. So yeah, I wanted to push that a little further for you guys. So for my soft black category, my first pick is a gown from Ralph and Russo from their fall winter collection in 2019. If I'm not mistaken, this was from a fashion show, one of the last fashion shows of the Ralph and Russo brand. Uh, Before they separated, because right now only Tamara Ralph has an existing clothing label. So this was like really such a sad way to open up this category because I really, really like this brand. But anyway, going back to the dress is a halter dress. It's really very soft. It's very delicate. It's made from black tulle. It's a fishtail type of gown. It features a high neckline. It's embellished with metallic paillettes, and it has black floral chantilly lace appliques, and it's contoured with pleated ruffles and adorned with gold sequin flowers. So it seems like a lot, but when you look at the dress closely, it just is something that's very soft and feminine, something that might not be uh, associated with Michelle, but I do love the contrast. I mean, can you imagine her wearing something delicate like this with her hair that's like super straight and super blunt? I think that it will be a really good contrast. My next pick for Michelle is a YSL number that was worn by Zoe Kravitz at the Met Gala. This was for the Heavenly Bodies Met Gala in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just made up of embellished black lace held by ribbons at the side. So back in the 90s, when this dress first came out, it wasn't this dark. It wasn't as mysterious, but this was held by pink bows. So for the 2018 version, they just changed it. The bows became black. It became a lot edgier. So yeah, I absolutely love this on Michelle because it seems very traditional with the lace. Not a lot of these pageant girls wear lace for the finals. I like the idea of that long slit. I also like the idea of the barely there like closing, like when you have like the ribbons just tied at the sides of the dress. I think that is just so feminine, but it's also so edgy and so sexy. When Zoe Kravitz wore this, she wore a pair of really large morganite pink earrings, so I think Michelle could also emulate the styling from that. My next pick for her is from Ailey Saab. It's from 2021. It's also from the RTW collection. Now, this one is a combination of something that's beaded and then something that is just really flowy. Because whenever I would listen to you guys, I would always encounter someone saying, you know, you want movement, that you kind of miss the flowy gown. So I'm giving this one to you. So this one is a halter gown, and it has Art Deco linear beadwork, and it has an attached skirt with a high slit. So the skirt itself is very simple. It has movement, and yeah, you can just imagine her walking down the ramp with all of that wind. I think that would look really, really pretty. And it's also close to the body. It has some volume because of the shape, but because of the fabric, this is a type of fabric that would cling to the body. So if it has a slit, it would still also give her a lot of that leg action. So we could still see a lot of that footwork going on. My last pick for this category is something that just pays tribute to movement because, you know, when we look in pageantry, we look at movement because I remember just um, writing a caption for the compilation video of Miss USA just recently, and I was complaining about how heavy everybody walked and how heavy the styling was. And for me, this is the edge of the girls in this region, particularly the Philippines. Like, even if Michelle is also one of the tallest girls out there, we have the magic to transforming her into moving with lightness. So with this, I would love to complement those movements with a dress that really calls for more movement, calls for a lot of shimmying and shaking. And this is because I have picked an Alexander McQueen dress for you guys. It's from their autumn winter collection for 2023. It's made of a black tulle dress with jet orchid embroidery and bugle bead fringing. So if you notice, the dress is actually very similar to the feels of Selena Gomez, Oscar de la Renta not too long ago, with a lot of that beadwork action, but it's still so open and it still allows for a lot of like dancing, a lot of walking, and it's just so very interesting when you capture it on film. And then let's move on to one of the requests of some of you fans out there. Because when we talk about Michelle, we talk about something that's like on the darker side, dark feminine. So someone actually pointed out that she would like to see Michelle wear pink. So for this category, I am calling this Think Pink. And I think that this would also work because, first of all, we've seen Michelle in one of her appearances right after winning. She was in that pink t shirt with that pink pencil skirt. She looked really, really pretty. And I think a lot of people are rooting for pink because we haven't had someone wear pink since we started placing in 2010. And Michelle had a really successful photo in a pink swimsuit. So maybe we can replicate that impact if she wears pink for the finals. My first pick for her under this category is a dress that came from M&M Couture. This is a high slit strapless gown piece. It features a straight neckline with a mid-rise back, and what's appealing with this gown is it's very structural, which means that it's not saccharine sweet. It's still something that could work well with Michelle's preference and her personality. So this gown is exquisitely encrusted with beadwork all over, and it has artistically gathered draping, so we will still get that goddess feel with this dress. My next pick in this category is a Versace dress from 2021. And I like this because this seems like really different from how we see Michelle. This is more disco. This has a little bit of that softness still. It's a goddess dress really with a lot of cutouts. And this one is a dress that will work in pageantry, but maybe Michelle can style it in an edgier fashion. So it's a hot pink dress. It has a lot of cutouts. It has a starburst pattern beadwork. So I think that this has elements that will appeal to a lot of us. My number three pick is a Zahir Murad dress from spring 2023. It's a hot pink gown and it's made with appliques and cutouts. So again, there is a lot of emphasis for Michelle to move in these gowns, which means that collectively we want Michelle to be able to showcase what she has been practicing for. And I think that this has been common in a lot of the girls that we've sent to Miss Universe this past couple of years. I just feel like a lot of their gowns are on the stiff side, so it really doesn't allow for a lot of movements. That's probably why we are calling for more movement for Michelle this time, because yeah, we've had it with a lot of these structured gowns. Now, my last pick for this category of Think Pink, it's a dress by Laquan Smith from their 2023 RTW line. Now, I like this because whenever Michelle would go out there and whenever she would wear a lot of these like really modern pieces, I noticed that there's always a little bit of that hardware or maybe something that's like architectural, something that's not quite fabric. So I picked this because I think that this is along the lines of their aesthetic. The Laquan Smith dress is made from lightweight taffeta with an exposed breastplate encrusted with pink crystals. So yeah, if she goes with pink, I mean, she could still push for that. I think this is a great shade for her. And I like the idea of that exposed breastplate because this is that edgy, that modern element that we've been waiting for. However, if it were up to me, if it weren't Mark Baumgartner, although do love Mark Baumgartner in the pageantry setup, but if it were up to me, if I were to pick a wild card gown for Michele D to wear at the finals of Miss Universe, I would love for her to explore what Rahul Laurel has been doing these past couple of months. Rahul has been playing around with crushed silk, and I like the idea that the shapes are organic. I like the idea that it resembles waves. The creations that he has been putting out there, it does have like a very Filipino feel to it, but it also feels very fresh. It's very modern. Like what I mentioned earlier, it does feel organic because it drapes on the body. The fabric shapes the body, not the other way around. So he has made a number of creations, from that beautiful Vogue cover to Lovey Poe very recently to Pia also wearing a version at Paris Fashion Week. So it does give me a little bit of that reference on the waves, the chrysalis, very butterfly in nature, very light and ethereal even. I know that I would love that dove gray with the little shimmer that Liza Soberano wore recently at an event. So if we can make that a little longer for Michelle and just have those very interesting shapes as she turns, as she walks, I think that would look really, really good on the international stage. What do you think? So I'm really very excited on what they will be bringing to the table. I hope that they don't disappoint us this time, because I feel like for the other Miss Universe candidates that we've sent that Miss Universe, we've been making excuses because we either like these girls or that we're very supportive, but in reality we just want really, really good styling, and we just want styling that doesn't take away from who the candidate is and what their personalities are. So I hope that you like these choices, guys. I hope to have more free time to do episodes as this, because I know that we are almost there. We only have a few more weeks. So for now, I'm going to say goodbye and thank you. See you very soon.